Hello, everyone. It's your friend Tristan Miller. I'm just here to inform you that I'm recording my first stand-up comedy album and special on May the 4th in New York City at Caveat at 4 p.m. You can go to the link in my bio on my social media platforms, or you can go to caveat.com, go to May the 4th, and buy tickets there. Highly recommend that you get them early as they are cheaper that way. Also, after the show, I'm going to go, Phantom Menace is playing in theaters. So I'm going to take a big group to go to the nearest AMC or whatever Cineplex and go see my favorite Star Wars movie. I'll say it with my full chest. My favorite Star Wars movie in theaters again. So hope to see you at both things. If you have to pick one, just pick my show, please. I would like to sell out the house if possible. Anyway, love you. Hope to see you soon. Okay, bye-bye. Coming soon to theaters, podcasts, film reviews, and so much more. Available at tristanmiller.substack.com.
And now, our feature presentation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Focus Testing, podcast about movies where we also make a movie. My name is Tristan Miller, and joining me today is the hilarious, the wickedly talented Abbi Crutchfield. Hey, Abbi, how are you?
Wickedly talented. Hi, Tristan. I'm great. How many movies have you made so far?
I guess over 100.
You're a regular Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I too am afraid to confront my childhood and family dynamics.
If you made a third of those, but kept the same amount of time length, you'd be a regular Martin Scorsese. His movies are long.
His movies are long and subconsciously always about Jesus. If you think about it,
what?
That's my hot take.
I never knew that.
My hot take.
I'm gonna watch them now in a different way.
Is that his Catholicism informs every single frickin' movie he does. I don't know why I said frickin'. I'm allowed to curse on this program.
I think you should. It conveys the exact amount of irritation.
So, Abbi, you're a comedian and actor and a bunch of other stuff. I assume you went to the movies a lot growing up, or enough to get interested in them. Do you remember, what's the first movie you remember seeing in the cinema?
Ooh, an early memory of a movie. Well, when you go really, really young, I could be wrong because, I'll say, I think I remember seeing E.T. in the theater, and then someone will say, but it came out like the year you were born or something like that, or very close to when I was born. So I couldn't have been one and remembered it or something like that. And then I think, we also had dollar theaters that would play movies 5 years or 10 years later. So maybe I did see it in the theater, or maybe it was a drive-in. So let me say that this is not the first movie, but this is one of my early favorite movie memories. I saw Kindergarten Cop with my dad. And as we were walking out, it was great. It was a lovely film. But as we were walking out, there was the marquee for another movie that was playing right after it, Edward Scissorhands. And I was like, oh, I'd love to see Edward Scissorhands someday. And he goes, why don't we see it now? And we walked right into the theater. We only missed like the first 10 minutes. And I was so young, I didn't even question it. I was like, oh, cool. My dad's allowed to do this. And it was like double feature, extra time with my dad and a free movie. It was great.
That's so good. Oh, good on your dad for doing that. That's like a little bit of parenting magic. You have those moments.
Yeah,
where you're like,
so spontaneous. It was, really regular. Today's parents would be like, oh, honey, no. And we have to get home and scheduling because your gymnastics class, blah, 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 blah.
My movie pass only allows me so many movies a day. We can't go against the app, yada, yada, yada.
Right. I'm not spending another dime on more popcorn, all these things. But it was great. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, cool.
That's so good. I miss dollar slash, this is the age differential between the two of us. By the time we had dollar theaters, they were $5 theaters, because of inflation. And I really miss that as because they're just not here in New York, obviously. They wouldn't be sustainable. Rep theaters.
They'd have to be in someone's house.
Which, here's the thing. If you do it by donation, you could probably get away with it.
Yeah, like a rooftop thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. If people got away with performing stand-up comedy in roofs during quarantine, I think they could. could figure out a way to play a movie in the backyard or whatever.
The good news was they were keeping their distance, so they weren't likely to catch COVID. But the bad news was they were likely to fall to their deaths, like climbing up a fire escape.
It was, I remember doing a show on a roof, and there was like 90 people there, and every time there was a laugh, the whole thing went up and down. And I was like, oh no, this is like thrilling. I love it, but I'm also so scared.
Yeah. That's definitely a viral video waiting to happen of the
100%.
building collapsing.
It would remind me of, have you seen the Aristocats?
The cartoon.
Yeah.
No, I saw the comedy documentary where people have their version of the Aristocrats, but not the cat film.
There's just a sequence where all these cats are playing music too loud, and they go from floor to floor and they fall down, and that's what I would imagine would happen.
I do remember the song "Everybody Wants to Be a Cat" from that,
which
film.
Is true. Everyone does.
Yeah.
What's your favorite cinema snack? What's your go-to?
Let me think. Okay, I'm just going to start saying them in no particular order because there's about 5 that I like to have if money were no object. Okay, so pretzel nuggets with cheese sauce to dip in. And nuggets, not just a big pretzel, but just like the little soft pillows. They're so yummy. And then cookie dough bites, when those came out, that blew my mind because I previously was eating the vanilla ice cream off of the cookie dough balls just to enjoy the cookie dough. So when they just took away the big ice cream problem, I was 100%. Like, finally, some genius. And then I remember the Dollar Cinema, they had a jar of gigantic dill pickles just floating around waiting for some brave soul to try them. And I got one day and I was like, this is the best tasting pickle of my life. It felt huge and it wasn't too garlicky. It was like just right.
So I would never have considered a pickle for a cinema snack, but I think that might be perfect because it's some like the thing that keeps coming up whenever I ask anyone of this is like it has to be hand food, right? It can't be like I can't be like sawing a steak or something, but a pickle.
No, that's too much looking. You can't look at it when you're eating. You have to be able to watch and eat. Absolutely.
What's your favorite movie that you've seen lately? What's something that's really stuck with you?
Well, 2 movies I just saw in the past few days was Oppenheimer and The Whale. And these were much talked about. And I was cynical, like, how good could they be? And you know how you try to guess a movie plot just by looking at one image? And so obviously my imagination was limited. I was like, okay, so The Whale's about an overweight man, but then what? And I had...
But then what?
I had no idea how complex it was and how like 3-dimensional his character would be and how excellent the acting was by the other cast of 5 people. And anyway, and then I found out it was based on a play and I thought, oh, this feels like a play. It's very intimate. And I was actually crying at the end of that movie. And I haven't cried at the end of a movie since Benji the Hunted, when a wolf falls off, like a coyote or something is chasing him and he outsmarts it, this dog, this little terrier, and the wolf falls off of a cliff and the camera watches it go, ah! Oh no. I bawled. I was like, he didn't deserve that.
He's just trying to live.
Right. So not since I was a kid have I been moved to tears like I was by the ending of The Whale. And then the other one, Oppenheimer, I again was like, okay, Christopher Nolan, we'll see what you've got. Like I just thought it's a man who built a bomb. What more can I possibly learn? Which is not giving any human being any credit because like everybody's life has a story. But really what it became, what I think I interpreted the movie as a commentary on ethics, yada, yada. I thought like, oh, that really stays with you. Like the seriousness of Cillian Murphy's face throughout the whole thing. He really took everything pretty seriously.
Oh, for sure.
Even when he smiled, it was like a serious smile.
What's something that you've seen recently that if you're willing to just go, this is a piece of garbage?
Oh, a movie that I thought was very not great.
Yeah, it was very bad. No good, very bad.
There's bad. Well, there's bad in that, like, I don't like the casting, or there's bad in, I think the writing is weak, or I just really don't like what they did with the ending. So I find fault in a lot of movies because I go in expecting like it to appeal exactly to my sensibilities. And then when it doesn't, I'm like, fail.
That's
but
very interesting.
but I don't, because I know the work that goes into making a film, and I also know that my taste isn't everybody's taste. So let me think. There is something. I can't stand a movie where I leave it feeling like that was a waste of my time because I didn't learn anything. If it's too
Mm,
abstract and the director's like, "Well, what do you think this movie's about?" And one of those sticking in my mind, which I think everybody loves, is Mulholland Drive. And it's too symbolic, or the symbols mean nothing. And it reminds me of the end of Mad Men, where Mad Men felt so like I started to get invested in the characters and I understand how they operate. But then there were these deviations of like, oh, they're going rogue, and oh, now they're married to this person. And so there's no longer this push and pull of the sexual tension
mhm,
there. And it's just like everything fell apart.
mhm,
And that's a creative choice that the writers can make, or the director can make, or the network. I don't care. But for me, I'm like, it has to have a nice bow at the end of it. Like
mm.
I like when movies end positively, and and oh gosh. So anyway, so when we'll talk, and then I'll figure out like what movie I'm thinking of. But there's one where I like didn't like the movie all the way through until the end, and I'm like, okay, now it makes sense. And then
Mhm.
there's others where I like love the movie all the way through until the end, and then it's like, well, what was that for? It was dumb.
Yeah,
So I
like
don't know.
Schindler's List. It was fine until they got away. No, that's
If you want to go away from Schindler's List saying I learned nothing, you're a pretty ADD or something. You should have paid attention.
you should
There's
have
a
paid
lot to
attention.
learn in that film.
For sure. I happen to like Mulholland Drive. I've only seen it one time. I'm not gonna like swing to its defense.
Good. No, no, no. I wanted to hear what you got out of it, because I mean, some
Um,
visuals were really impactful and some color. I remember the color of the film was neat, but I don't know.
I mean, for me, I mean, a lot of David Lynch's stuff. I'm a big Lynch head.
Oh my gosh! Wow, you're a real
And
artist. That's all that means to me.
that it just means I like weird Midwestern people, as I am one. Um,
Me too,
it's
actually. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's from Missoula, Montana. So I guess it's a Great Plains region, but
Okay.
it's still not one of the coast. Anyhow, I mean, what it boils down to, most of his stuff boils down to, for me, is you got two people inside of you. You got a good guy and you got a bad guy, and you gotta listen to the
Hmm.
good guy and not the bad guy. Like that's all what
Oh.
Twin Peaks: The Return is. That's all like at its most simple version, and that's kind of like then you were saying like obviously symbolically there's like some weird stuff, and then I think
Hmm.
Mulholland Drive also has the appeal of the homoeroticism between Naomi Watts and, gosh, I can't remember the other actress's name,
Hmm.
and the fact that you can find yourself kind of replaced in your own life
Mm.
as well, where you are like, and this happens in Lost Highway as well, where if you don't listen to your instincts, you don't listen to your as David calls it, thought feeling, your intuition,
Hmm.
you can lose yourself and you can feel like you are out of place in your own
Yeah,
mind.
well, that's relatable, I think, especially past midlife. But I remember seeing in a window for transcendental meditation his
Hmm.
picture and saying he
Hmm.
was a big fan of it.
Hmm.
And I thought, well, maybe if I got into that, I could finally understand his films, because I'm not operating on the same plane as him.
Well, it's
I'm
somebody
like, why is
to
that monster in the corner? What's that?
it's just a thought. Don't worry about it. But yeah, for sure. As someone who like learned through his foundation, yeah, I think TM does, I think, help a wee bit, but I think it's mostly just like I kind of view it as like he's one of the few artists that I believe when he says art is my therapy. Because a lot of people say that, and I think a lot of that's kind of bullshit. Because you should, if you're feeling if you're feeling things, you should probably talk to someone about it. But with him, it's so clear that he's like, all of this negativity that I have in my head, I get out, and then I can be present for
Mm.
my actual life. But yeah, he's very polarizing. Some people hate his stuff, some people love his stuff. I don't like all of his movies. I'll
Hmm.
say that
I think
much.
it's quite a feat to be polarizing. I think I've spent the majority of my career treating general audiences, like just being mildly amusing.
Or yeah, I
I
understand.
crack myself up, but to other people being like, "Oh, that was pleasant,"
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and I'd love it to be like, "I hated that lady, and I loved her, and you better shut
yeah.
up." I
I,
haven't I haven't reached that yet.
I agree. I think that the two hardest things about being an artist and a creative person are either A, as you said, being polarizing, or
Mhm.
B, actually creating art that is for that's for the populace. Like Spielberg, what he does is actually really difficult. To hit all of those quadrants is crazy to do. That's really hard.
Yeah, I think the same thing about Taylor Swift, as silly as it seems, but she's just so commercially successful. It's not as if, well, I already like the way she sounds, so of course I'm going to like the next thing. There's some of that psychology to it, but it's like she crafts. I don't know if she's got quadrants, but I definitely think there's a formula. There's what's that baseball movie called with Brad Pitt and say it again?
Moneyball.
There's some Moneyball statistics happening with these people.
100%. It's like really, I really admire her. Of like, oh wow, she really cracked what works for her, and good for her. I have no complaints. Are you ready for some movie trivia?
Let's do it. I love doing movie trivia before the actual film. I like getting there early. I forego going to the restroom. The only thing I'll take time to do is get my snacks, and then I sit comfortably for 20 minutes before the actual trailers start.
That's so good. I'm the same way. I love to show up to a movie early because it's a whole thing. It's a whole event. It's not just. And then the most important thing, I think, is scheduling time afterwards with whoever you see the movie with for at least 20 minutes to talk about it and maybe get into an argument. And that's what I love about movies. I do have a shirt from the great online shop called Super Yaki that says "Show up early" for Marina Menounos, which is
what does she do? I know her face, and I know she's a presenter, but what does she do specifically for movies?
She does the AMC and Regal movie trivia.
She'll lead the trivia. Oh, that's great. That's a great gig. I gotta get that gig.
Dude, you'd be great at it, man.
I'd love it one day.
First question for movie trivia is, what is movie?
Movie is a 5-letter word. I got that right. That's an acronym for many oily vans in escrow. And if I were a finance person, I could explain further, but I'm not, so I can't.
100%. That's exactly what movie is. Next question. From which actor would you steal a car?
Oh, okay. It has to be somebody that wouldn't press charges. So Tom Hanks.
He's got enough going on with Chet that he's like, I'm too busy.
Yeah, Chet's the one I have to worry about. I don't want any Hanks kid flirting with me. Just want to steal the car and get out of there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so good. I like that. I also like the idea of him like seeing you drive off and him going, "Oh, come on," the way he can do.
Yeah.
How many slaps in the face would you take in order to be in an A24 film?
Are you allowed to explain what an A24 film is?
Yeah, absolutely. A24 is I guess it's a distributor and also production company. They did things like Lady Bird, and they're known for like Midsummer, I believe, was also them, and like now mid-budget indie cinema scene.
I don't know if they also made Tender Bar, or the Holdovers, but I decided Lady Bird, Tender Bar, and the Holdovers have something in common. Like they're just a genre unknown of themselves, besides indie film, but they're just like brown is the theme of the color palette.
Sure, yeah, I understand.
Someone's wearing tweed.
100%.
So how many slaps?
Yeah, how many slaps would you take?
I'm going to treat this like this is movie trivia that just popped up. I hope it's 3. Is it 3? I'm going to say 3. 3.
Very good. 3. This one I'm interested to hear from you. What animal would you like to ratatouille yourself into success? It lives atop your head. The hat is as big as it needs to be. Don't worry about it. It's like a TARDIS.
Good. Well, I guess I would choose chimpanzee because I've always wanted to have a kinship with one. I mean, I would choose Coco the gorilla if she wasn't so enormous. But how they would do it is, gosh, I mean, I guess since, TikTok is so big and I'm barely on there, I would do the voiceover for this chimp, and the chimp would be the thing that makes everybody fall in love with my channel, I guess, right?
Okay.
Or is that it's not very Ratatouille because no one ever sees Remy the rat. So how could a chimpanzee help it?
Hey.
See, I just want to spend time with a chimp. That's all I want to do.
Great. Good on you for knowing the rat's name.
Hey.
Honest to God, a lot of people think his name is Ratatouille.
Well, I reference that movie a lot because of one scene at the end where the critic is eating Ratatouille and his flashes back to his youth. I flash back to favorite moments a lot, so that part stays with me. So I'm always like, it's like that guy in Ratatouille. Like if I'm trying to describe how I feel.
That's very good.
The critic, not the main character. So anyway, if there's a secret animal that would be responsible for my success, it would be the chimp again, but it would be the chimp knitting for me. And again, it would just be the hands you would see on TikTok. So you'd never know it wasn't me. Yeah, I would love to knit.
Kind of that age-old adage, you get enough chimpanzees knitting at a typewriter.
And eventually they come up, with a great knitted script.
You're gonna get you. Sorry, I made myself laugh. I'm having a conniption here. If you get enough chimpanzees at a typewriter, they're gonna ask for a glass of milk. I think what I was trying.
That just happens. That's life,
That is life. That's what all the people say. What was your first movie character crush?
I guess it would be Prince from Purple Rain. Although I hadn't seen the movie, I saw the album cover, and my neighbor, a nice older lady, said, "Do you have a boyfriend?" And I think I was, not even in grade school yet. And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Who is it?" And I said, "Him." And I pointed to the record because I thought he looked good. And he looks like me with a mustache. I like him. I had big hair as a kid. It was he had my complexion. I was like, this guy, I like him.
A lot of closest I could find to me. That's very good.
What else does a kid want out of romance but familiarity? But I think for real, if I saw a person in the movie, I remember liking Rufio in Hook, like being like, oh, I wish someone like him went to my school. Or so many people who are way too old for me, like Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones, or I have one more. Let me think. I keep thinking back to B movies, so they don't count really. I can't tell you the actor in them. But like the guy that played Buzz Ravenel in Shag, do you remember?
I've never experienced Shag, unfortunately.
Yeah, you'd have to Google all these references to find out the other crushes. But yeah, just people like him. If somebody else comes up in my mind, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Do you go out for B movies a lot? Do you are you like a consumer of obscure films?
No, I just grew up with Cinemax and HBO, and we had a VCR at that time, so we would tape movies. So I like movies like Temple of Doom because I saw it first before any of the other Indiana Joneses, or and then you find out later in life, like, oh, that was the least rated one or something. I like Batteries Not Included. I watched Baby Boom. So maybe these were A films in their day when they were released, but to me, they were just like, none of my friends ever saw them. So they didn't know what I was talking about if I referenced these films. She's having a baby and, anything that just came on HBO.
Okay.
So I don't know that it's a B film exactly, because it's not like Martians from Outer Space Attack Missouri. Sure. But I have seen like The Incredible Two-Headed Monster and, that was and The Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Like these were considered schlocky films back then, I think.
I have a special place in my heart for schlock. I wish we would have more of it, to be honest.
I like it in terms of seeing it live. Like I think a movie theater in San Francisco used to play those kind of films. I don't know if it still does, but like if you can come together with people the way they do Rocky Horror Picture Show, this like I think then it's really fun when you can crack jokes during it.
100%. I saw a backyard screening at a bar of Showgirls.
Wow.
And that was really fun because people were yelling at the screen. It's the first time I'd ever seen it as well. I was like,
I've not seen it either. I would like to see it that way too.
It's pretty good. You have to, I feel like that film specifically, you should not watch alone because you need someone to kind of turn to and go, what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why did that happen?
What
What's
is
that?
going on?
What is going on?
Final trivia question. As
Sure.
always, what makes Austin Powers so sexy?
Oh my goodness. The getting caught in the lie about writing a book about a penis enlarger.
So you like that
That's
he's
when
a
he
little
won me
rascal.
over. He's like, that's not my bag, baby. And then,
So you like that he's a little rascal. That's very good. I like that.
that was definitely my cup of tea. It's my favorite joke from that film. I mean, there's many. There's just so many.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think many people would say it was his glued on chest hair, but I would say it's getting caught in a lie. It makes him funny to me.
Very good.
Attractive.
All right. Are you ready for our random void?
Yeah. A random what? Void?
Void word.
Oh, void. Yeah.
A random void.
You became a newsie for a moment.
Yeah, a little bit. Seize the day. I have for you refer, refer, refer.
Oh my gosh. I'm making up a movie trailer based off of the word refer.
Well, a whole movie if we can help it. I have a couple of ideas. But if you have anything, I always defer to the guest because I don't want to bulldoze the situation.
I want Robert De Niro in it.
Okay.
And I want Cape Fear Robert De Niro in it, if that's all right. Even though he's trying to venture into being a bad guy now. If Refer ends up being a family-friendly film, I'll Meet the Parents. I still want Robert De Niro.
Okay. I think it's about, based off of that, Robert De Niro plays a man who works in the financial aid office of a pretty nice state school. And he handles all the referrals. And
the year is 1992.
Yes, the year is 1992. I am just being born. And works at the referral office. But this is not a very nice school until one of their alumni graduates, and he is huge. It's like has made a fortune. Then all of these applications come in, all these referrals come in, and it's referral madness. What
is I need some things broken down to me. So he works as in the school as an administrator of some sort. And you said it's the financial aid office?
I don't know.
Of the state school? Okay.
I guess, or the referral office, whatever it is.
What is the referral? Remind me. It's been a long time.
I was really hoping you would know. I did not attend a traditional college.
I just know about job referrals. I don't know about college referrals. So this is like people who are recommended to go to this school.
Yes, gotcha. Straight out of high school, basically, from my understanding.
Okay, I'm with it.
You can get a referral from a high school to go to a school, and then they help you with that process.
Right. So why does he gets a grant of some sort, and so all these people are starting to apply? Is that what you said?
Someone from the state school. It's normally not even or we could even make it smaller, like a community college, right?
Sure. But what's the setting? Where are we? What state are we in?
I don't. You decide.
Okay, we're in. Ohio. We're in Ohio.
Okay, it's a small state school in Ohio. Go Buckeyes!
He's got a New York accent.
I mean, here's the thing. He tries to do an accent every once in a while. He's my biggest problem with Killers of the Flower Moon because he is trying. That accent wanders. That whole.
Which one is he trying to do? Is it an Irish accent? No, that would be the Irishman.
No, he's trying to do like a Montana accent, like a Great Plain accent, and sometimes it's really good, and then sometimes it's just like nails on a chalkboard to me, and it's really interesting. Yeah.
We're so used to how he says words that I can't allow him to have an accent.
Yeah, nah.
Okay, well, let's say he's a transplant from New York, so he doesn't change his regular Bobby De Niro speak.
Yes, I agree. And so this the school is not a well-regarded school, and then one of their alumni. So you said it's 1992. What's I guess one of their alumni is like somehow involved in like Yahoo or something.
Oh, cool.
And so now everyone wants to go to the school, and he doesn't know how to handle it. All of these referrals are coming in.
And is that again because he has like a grant or some scholarship to hand out from some money from the Yahoo guy? Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying, but it can be that.
Okay, so for some reason, all these referrals come. Oh, because someone famous is associated with the school. That's what you're saying.
Yes. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. So
that's
all
the
these
exciting-
referrals come in, and here's the thing about him: he's not a hard worker. I mean, he's in a community college because he's a divorced dad of 2, and he doesn't have custody. So he's kind of just coasting through life. You don't know his childhood, but he never amounts to much. Like, I think the opening scene is his ex-wife being like, "You're a loser, Charlie. You were born a loser. You'll always be a loser. That's why you're stuck in the Midwest." And
Only
so
a bum.
I'm not calling you ever again. Like, and this is how phones looked in the 90s. It was a landline. And so, so the fact that he now has a bunch of work. By the way, did we decide if this is a drama or a comedy? Do you feel like you're leaning one way or the other?
I think it's like in the style of a 1990s dramedy, like or something. Like I think it should be a comedy.
Like Hook?
Like
Hook had some funny moments.
Hook is famously a dramedy, not a children's action adventure.
I don't know. Robin Williams is so dramatic.
He is like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. That was a good little bit of Williams there. Okay. So okay, fine. So it's not a kids' action film.
But I think it should be a comedy. I think we're two funny people, and I think if we resist the urge to be funny, that's bad.
I know, like The Parenthood. Okay, it's like one of those. He's got a lesson to learn by the end of it, I think.
Yeah.
Do you remember Steve Martin in Parenthood and Keanu Reeves is in it?
I think
Diane Wiest.
I think this guy might actually be a bum. And the reason he moves to Ohio and takes this terrible job is so he doesn't make enough money to pay child support.
Ah, great.
He's
I can see the trailer now. Charlie Robertson does not succeed. And then they go to, yo, what's up, Bob? Or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Never calling you again. Click that line. And then you cut to him in a bar telling his friend, "I'm going to move to Ohio and get this and accept this job that he's got circled in a newspaper because that way I won't make enough to have child support." And then he clinks risky whiskey or rye glasses with his friend played by
Alec Baldwin.
Oh, you know who it is? Is it Sean Penn's brother? I think it's played by Sean Penn's brother. Do you remember him?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, forget it. Who do you want it to play?
I panicked and said Alec Baldwin. I don't want him in this movie.
Okay, not Alec, because he's too. In the 90s, he was still like a leading man type. He wouldn't have been the character friend. But I'm thinking more of it could be the guy that played Newman or the guy from Jurassic Park. Wayne Knight could be a good one because he's comedic. Could be, you know who it could be? It could be Kevin. What's Pollock? Kevin Pollock. Remember him?
I think both of those are really great options. I love this idea but I do love the image of Wayne Knight being best friends with Robert De Niro.
He's a deadbeat. Like, this is his caliber of people.
I like that very much.
Wayne Knight is the piano man at this bar, and they're both like, they just like practically live there.
Talking, spinning a yarn.
Yeah. So anyway, he's so fast forward to all the referrals. So now he's in over his head. He's like, oh, and then his boss, played by
Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson says, "You got your work cut out for you now." And then he says it like that, like he's yelling, and you're like, you're indoors. Why are you shouting? Because I'm Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that's so good.
So then what? I mean, he has to meet somebody that changes his heart and makes him succeed or realize he's not a failure and that he can apply himself. Maybe a student, maybe a fellow student that's in community college who is, maybe she's a single mom. She's young and hot, but she has responsibilities. So she's not looking to date anybody. And well, what does she have to do with him? I don't know. Somehow they are at a soda machine and they meet. It's a meet cute. And he teaches her how to like, boom, boom, boom. And he's like, never pay for anything you could get for free. And she's like, well, you're just full of little tidbits. It's Ray Don Chong. And she's playing a character named Abbi Crutchfield.
Perfect. No notes.
And she's reprising. People are like, oh, wasn't she just a single mom at a college in Soul Man? And people are like, yeah, women get typecast in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. So that's why.
Or
she's
is this a backdoor sequel to Soul Man?
Same school. She's not finished with her work. She hasn't graduated yet, and the man that wore blackface is gone.
Good.
But this pesky admissions officer is there.
I do love
And,
that scene you pitched of him like teaching her how to like, because that also like reinforces the fact that like he's a bum, he's a cheapskate, he's like
he's a grifter. Yeah.
I think
There's not much that's redeeming about him except that he's a handsome Robert De Niro, and eventually he has a change of heart and learns that he can be somebody, and she's the one that teaches it to him. Yep.
Yeah, I feel like what happens is I feel like also I think he is not someone who he's underqualified for the position he's in too. And that's another reason he's bad at it. And I think she is pursuing a degree in administration and she needs an internship. Right?
Okay, so now they're working more closely together.
Yes.
And she sees all the ways he's failing.
Yes, and they help each other through that. But because of her help, kind of like my cousin Vinny style, because of her help, he succeeds. And then, unfortunately for him, gets a raise that now he has to deal with his kids and he has to face his past. And now he's like, now I'm ready to do it.
Yeah, how do you make him likable if he's ducking his responsibility towards his kids? Maybe he loves them, but he's just doesn't believe in himself to make enough money. So it's not them he hates, it's himself he loathes. And that's why his wife she's a ball buster. She's unlikable and everybody gets it. She's a shrew. But and she has custody because it's the 90s and only women can raise children. So that's what you would just accept. You don't question that he doesn't want to be involved. You question, how much can he even do in today's society? So yeah, I think that he does show up to his kids' baseball game at the end of the film, and the lady's there. She has to have some moment where she's like, I trusted you. How could you let me down? And he's like, I let everybody down. Don't you understand? And then they separate, but then he has a change of heart and comes back and wins her back. I hate those moments in movies, or I did as a kid, but it's like the conflict and then the immediate resolution that leads to the romantic finish,
Sure, yeah.
Like in You've Got Mail, it's like, you've been the big bad guy that's put my place out of business this whole time? And it's like, yep, it's me. Okay, I love you,
Yeah, but never mind that.
Yeah.
For sure.
How could you? Okay.
I think I like that. I think I like him. I think it is. I agree with your instincts. I think the reason he's ducking these child support payments and involvement with the kids is like, he's like, wife's got custody. I'm barely around. I'm just gonna get out of here. They don't want. They're better off without me. They'll get a tax credit, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And then his promotion, like, and his self promotion and also literal promotion allows him to realize that no, he is worth having in somebody's life. And then I do like that end of it. Like, he shows up to like a ball game. He drives all the way from Ohio because his like son is in some sort of a little league tournament and they're playing.
I think it's an away game in Pennsylvania, so they're meeting in the middle. Okay. Meanwhile, his girlfriend, who works in Ohio, is there visiting her family because she has family in Pennsylvania. So they don't really even know. Like, they're in the middle of having their fallout. Like, oh, I almost could have made it with her, but now I can't. And so he thinks he's never going to see her, but her nephew's in that game too. And so she's there, he's there. And, comic relief friend is there because he's trying to sell hot dogs. And it's in one of his crazy schemes. Wayne Knight is back.
Wayne Knight, like, getting so many different odd jobs. I think also Wayne Knight should be the guy that gets him the job at the school. And there should be a sequence where they're driving from New York to Ohio. And they're just like driving each other nuts.
Yeah, I could see that.
Even if it's like, I think even better is like, oh, I got this job for you. Yeah, let's go. You're my best friend. You're the only one I can ever talk to about anything. And then it just cuts and they're driving and it is stone cold silence because they have run out of things to say.
At least my least favorite part about a road trip. But you can't quite sleep. You just made me think, like, is Randy Newman music playing during this montage? But then I decided I should know who would have directed it. So you and I are directing it, I guess. We're the famous directing duo of the
Safdie
90s.
brothers of the 90s. Yeah.
So yeah, it ends in romance. They get along. Actually, it ends in not a big smooching scene, but in like, you gonna stick around for a while? And he goes, I think I will. little bit, you know, like could do it, you know. And then and so the music plays off and the sun is setting and they're looking at each other and smiling and then the credits roll up. So so you know that he's learned his lesson. But is she at all burned by the fact that he gets a promotion, or is she okay with it because she's just an intern?
I think
she's not like, this is unequal quality. Unequal quality.
Well, I think what would be good is he gets a promotion and he goes, you know, they're asking me for a referral for the position I just had. I said, why don't you do it?
Why don't you do it? Yeah. And she's like, yeah, I don't know what would be the conflict that makes them. Maybe she finds out he didn't earn his spot or he lied about something. She just has to catch him in some kind of really small white lie and then be like, I trusted you. So I don't know if we need to flesh out that detail or not, but I do like that he refers her. But I also need to play on the words for referral. Like there's him giving her a leg up, but she has to do something for him to make him the man he becomes, like to realize who he is. So I guess refer only has one meaning, really. Mm-hmm. There's defer, like I defer to you, but there's refer. Oh, there could be the referee.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's all the referrals coming into the college as well.
There are those referrals, yes, and then he gives her a job recommendation. That referral definition. Is there a third definition, or is that the only definition of refer? That's meaningful in this context. I think you're right. I think it's the college referrals, and then the play on words comes at the end where he's like, "I gave you that referral." She's like, "It was you," you know.
I think the conflict would be that breaks them apart is he's not telling his boss that she's helping him.
Yeah.
And she catches him in that and is like, what do I mean nothing to you? All this work we're doing together.
Right. That's good. That's very good. That's just the thing that would make her insult her integrity.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
I can't stand for that. Like I put up with your grifting ways, but I crossed the line there where you take credit for my work. And he's like, but I was just doing what I always do, which is just, you know, saying the thing that people want to hear.
I think that'd be good. Also, like that would be a really good emotional scene where he's like, this is all I'm good for. I'm a bum. I'm not good for anything. I don't know no other way.
I let people down. Yeah. It's about time you learn like everybody else does. I'm just going to let you down if you hang around long enough.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a great movie.
I think we're there. And then the only thing left is in the trailer, what I think pulls people in is definitely Wayne Knight clinking glasses with him, being like, yeah, and this way you avoid child support. It's one of those things where, you know how in The Parent Trap, nobody questions that they've split up their children and have lied to their children their whole lives?
Oh, what judge ruled that? It's like, you know, wisdom of Solomon gone awry.
Right. God, yeah, they took the wrong message away from that story. So that's what that scene is like. It's not like anybody questions it or thinks it's wrong. Even Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert don't question that part. They're like this guy. What they're bothered by is this tough guy believable as a lovable loser? He's, you know, we always want him to win, but luckily in the end he does. Wow, we skipped ahead to the review.
I love that though. I do. Like,
thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. I love that. I love to watch old Siskel and Ebert reviews. They're so entertaining. And then also I love the fact that they don't get along. That's my favorite thing about it is they're talking about, there's one moment in when they're reviewing Taxi Driver and Roger Ebert just goes, well, Gene, it feels like you wanted to watch a different movie than the one that was presented to you. In any event, we're going to move on to it. He just like slams it and then moves on. It's so good.
I could never tell if it was real acrimonious or if it was just like reality TV for the audience. I wasn't sure.
A great book that just came out called Opposable Thumbs. I can't remember the author's name, but it's about Siskel and Ebert. And from my understanding, having listened to the book, it was they liked each other. They hated each other at first because they were competitors at the newspapers. But by the time they were forced to work together, they like respected each other. They liked each other. They were friends, but they were always competitive.
Oh my goodness. And like who could sound the smartest reviewing this film or who could sound, wow, that's great. That's
which is like, I kind of, I haven't had a friendship like that in a very long time where it's like, well, let me try and get one up on you because millennials are soft. is why.
Yeah.
Great.
Wow.
I love the movie we've made, Abby. I think it's a winner.
Yeah. And
Do you
it's
want
called The
to?
Referral, or what is it called?
Sure.
That was
I
just
do
our
like the
keyword.
referee almost.
But there's not enough sports in it. We didn't imbue it with enough. Just that baseball
referee.
game at the end. The referee.
The referee. There's the referrer and there's the referee.
Yeah, there's the person who receives the referral, aka the referee.
Yeah, 100%.
That's your play on words.
There it is. I do like, but I think putting the baseball thing throughout it, we could definitely see it in like he's a big baseball fan, and one of the ways he learns how to be more organized is like he can remember all the baseball stats, but not like whose FAFSA should go to whatever. And she's like, use that same part of your brain. Think of it like baseball stats.
Oh, wow. She speaks to him with his language of baseball. That's so great. I love that teaching moment. Baseball doesn't have real referees, though, right? They just have umpires.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I don't know if we can
Football,
keep the referee
then?
as a title, but I'd rather call it like, there's tons of baseball puns. What did you just say?
Or we could just change it to football. It doesn't need to be baseball.
Oh, it could be the football game. Yeah. I think you're right. It could be. But if it was just a baseball pun, that would be, I think you could do that too. Like, not love diamond, 3 of hearts, 2 of diamonds. No, baseball diamond. No. Anyway, up to bat. Batter.
Batting 1,000. Batting 1,000, and there's 1,000 referrals that come in.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. What does batting 1,000 mean again? What's that? It's a reference to he's doing great.
Yeah, doing it 100%. No one can bat 1,000. It's with the adage. It's impossible.
Cool. I like that. All right, cool. Well, I love the baseball metaphors all throughout, and that she finally speaks to him in his language. This is good.
Yes.
All right.
Do you want to do a quick lightning round?
Sure.
So the way this works is we both get the same prompt, and then we each do a very small pitch based off of the random word. So the random word is update. So for me, update means that it is about a man who works at a night shift, and consequently his romantic life is bad. And so he's looking for a date who is up at any hour that he is, and he ends up falling in love, I think, via a social media platform that looks and acts is almost exactly like Twitter, but we can't call it that for legal reasons.
Cute. I would also accept if he worked as an elevator operator.
That's
and
also
he
very
needed
good.
the date to take place on the roof. Okay. Update gives me a newsy vibe. So I'm gonna say a young lady is a journalist in a newspaper. And again, it's taking place in the 90s. It's like one of my favorite eras of film. Actually, it's in the late 80s. And it's a little bit like Working Girl. Angelica Houston's in it. She's the boss. And the lead is Molly Ringwald. And it's not angsty or teen driven or anything. She's just trying to get a scoop. She wants the update, but something is in her way, and it is a silly guy that doesn't take his job seriously, played by Robert Downey Jr. And they fall in love somehow, and they end up getting the scoop on something, and they have to work together, even though she's like repulsed by him and he's like always hitting on her. And so they do a stakeout, and it's a great they end up both succeeding in the workplace, and they're like a new Woodward and Bernstein, but for the Brat Pack.
I would fucking watch the hell out of that movie. That's a great fucking idea. Ugh.
Sweet. Thanks.
I love it. Oh my God. I don't like that one. I'm gonna go with a different word. Clearance. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first this time?
Clearance is about, I'll do it. Clearance is about a family store that's going out of business because none of the kids in the family will take it over, and the dad has to deal with that disappointment. But in the end, they find out that they can still be close. It wasn't the business that was going to bind them together anyway. All right, what you got?
For Clearance, I think it is a political thriller starring Lupita Nyong'o, based off of some sort of Grisham-esque novel, where she has to use many disguises to get security clearance to
Yeah.
the Pentagon to
Great.
stop World War IV. We've had another one. This is in the far flung future. And it's not like sci-fi future. It's just like, yeah, now Apple has a different kind of phone, you know?
Yeah. Because of civil unrest in America. You're like,
Yeah.
we were just about to get there with social media and everybody's butting heads. So
100%. All right.
World War IV. My gosh. Yeah, that's great. I like that because it reminds me of that Ryan Phillippe movie with, what's that guy's name? It's like, he plays the bad guy, Cooper, somebody Cooper. Do you
Bradley
remember?
Cooper?
Not Bradley Cooper, but he's older and he was also in, I think,
Gary Cooper?
Adaptation. No, maybe Cooper's his first name, but anyway.
Sheldon Cooper of The Big Bang Theory?
No, but it's a great clearance type movie. The way you just described it's like a caper or a thriller action. Ryan Phillippe is the young guy. It's probably based on a John Grisham novel, but gosh, what's that guy's name? I'll figure it out. But anyway, he was in Cooper. He was in Adaptation, but he was also in Beautiful American Beauty. Do you remember that? Remember him now? Let me look up American Beauty.
I'm gonna look up right now.
You give me another
Consumer. You do that, I'll look him up.
Okay. Chris Cooper is his name. He's a great
guy.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. The person that should have played the villain in Killers of the Flower Moon, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He is an incredible actor. He's so good in Greta Gerwig's Little Women. When he cries, I bawl. It's so good. He's such a fine performer.
Steadfast. Him and Bobby Cannavale. They can't do anything wrong in my eyes. Like everything they do is perfect.
He's so good.
Okay. So what's the word? Corporation?
Consumer. Very close.
Oh, consumer. Consumer. Oh boy. Consumer. Consumer sounds like a documentary. Okay. And it's about Michael Moore's back. And he's talking about himself for once, not his ties to Flint, Michigan, but his weight. And he wants to know if his health can be turned around at this late stage in the game of life. And if so, will he have to spend his way to success? Or can anyone do it? Because if you can't, if you have to buy, then there's a paywall behind, actual health. So it's a little bit of an attack on American healthcare. And it's a little bit of an introspection into his life. And you see like old footage of him as a kid, like the old 1960s type of like home videos. And then you see his early work and stuff like that. But you slowly see photos of him, his health deteriorating. And so it's a commentary a little bit on that, a little bit on body shaming, but not too much. Because he is a cishet white male, so he can't care that much about it. He's mad that everybody's so woke. And you can't say this anymore, and you can't say that anymore. Yeah. So I think that's what he's doing. He's trying to highlight the inequality behind what it takes to have good health in your late stages of life. Boom, consumer.
I like that a lot. I think that's very good. Saying Michael Moore is back did strike fear into my heart.
He's back.
Consumer for me is a sci-fi thriller about a force outside our galaxy that is slowly consuming all of the other galaxies, and we have what seems like a very long time to fix it because it's light years away, but it keeps getting put off and put off and put off. But then it turns out that the thing that's causing this is coming from Earth. It's like an ancient stone or something weird. I don't know. And it's a metaphor for climate change.
I was gonna say, is it ancient stone or is it just our fossil fuels or something?
Yeah, absolutely. Tim Curry's there. He's a slime again. Slime above me.
That's great. I love that. I'll watch it. And I'll brag about having seen it at parties.
It's very good.
Have you seen Consumer?
What is a movie if not just a bragging point at a party? Abby, this has been so much fun. What would you like people who listen to this podcast to know about you?
That I'm available for hire to write movies if you want me to. And I have a podcast with my husband called The Kid is in School. It's just me and this guy Luke there connecting while a 6-year-old is not there to interrupt us. So it's we shoot the breeze and we have a lot of fun. And new episodes release every Tuesday. But if you want to see my comedy live, you can go to curlycomedy.com, or you can go to Instagram or whatever they call Twitter now and visit Curly Comedy. So you can see me be funny there.
Great. Already doing it.
Thanks, dude.
And I'm speaking now to you, dear listener, if you want to support this endeavor. I was going to say endeavor makes it seem too grand. This piece of entertainment you've just listened to, you can go to tristanmiller.substack.com. You can get early access to episodes as well as the video. And then also on top of that, a bonus podcast where I speak to people about their comfort movies called Movies to Fall Asleep To. And it's meant to lull you to sleep. It's very sleepy. It's very good. Highly recommend you check that out. Other than that, thank you so much for doing this. This was heaps
Thanks
of
for having
fun.
me. Oh, I hope to come back. I loved that whole creative writing session. That was super fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Anytime. Anytime you want to come back, you're here.